We're going to go ahead and call the meeting, special meeting of the Bloomington City Council to order. Madam Clerk, would you please call the roll?
Alderman Lauer,
Here.
Alderman Sage,
Here.
Alderman Malumboy,
Here.
Alderman Burgess,
Here.
Alderman Painter,
Here.
Alderman Schmidt,
Here.
Alderman Hallman,
Here.
Alderman Black, Alderman Froen,
Here.
Mayor Renner.
Here. Thank you very much. At this point, we do have one person who signed up for public comment, Patricia Martin. Patricia? Oh, well, you have the floor, Patricia, and you're the only one, so I think it's come on down, the price is right. Okay.
Okay. Again, my participation in local mental health issues is proving to be most rewarding. For example, I am impressed with the energy Laura Beavers and her staff at the Health Department generate as they prepare programs for those working with the mentally ill, as well as the forthcoming May Forum. I'm also impressed by the interest taken in such projects by members of our community, both young and old, who have approached me with questions about them, ranging from an ISU political science student to an administrator dealing directly with the elderly in housing, showing that there is definitely a concern and need for this type of training. Therefore, we must make sure that this carefully formulated material is put into practice in our city and county institutions, for it can help us choose the people we hire, people who can skillfully handle the complexities of the institutions they represent, not just the patrons, but also staff, for the staff are directly dependent on their administrators for their livelihood. No employee in any institution should be put into situations that he or she might feel are questionable. No patron either should find himself or herself in questionable situations either. We live in a society made up of people of different ages and cultures. Each has his or her own part, and each needs the protection and consideration of the institutions that they frequent. As an elderly woman, I do not want to be shoved into a dark corner, metaphorically speaking or otherwise, my concerns ignored or ridiculed. Administrators who are capable of doing this must be immediately dismissed before they harm the reputation of the institution. Also, we are investing millions of dollars in our institutions, coming from the taxes of people like ourselves. And I admire Alderman Lauer and Fruin for their recent stance on issues regarding the budget, both local and state, which I am obviously concerned about as well, especially the community care program cuts. This Friday, we are meeting 3 prospective candidates for the library director position in Bloomington. I look forward to this meeting with hope and trepidation. Let us choose the finalists through a most careful selection process, and after the decision is made, continue our contact with him or her on an ongoing basis, so we can know him or her better, and he or she can know us and our needs better too. And this should include the Board of Trustees, the City Council, as well as concerned patrons. And I would still like to have a fireworks display on World Elder Awareness Abuse Day in June in the Courthouse Square, to show that our community and county are opposed to the abuse and suffering inflicted on some 5 million elderly Americans during the last year. We've earned it. Okay, thank you very much.
Thank you. And came in under budget there, Patricia. Good. And just to clarify, the middle meeting of the month is normally considered to be a committee of the whole meeting. The difference, of course, is that in a committee of the whole meeting, we actually just discuss and have information presented, exchange ideas and thoughts, whereas today we needed to take some specific action on a couple of items, particularly the liquor license for venue works. But not in that order. We're going to go ahead and move on to the action on settlement authority in the case of Calhoun versus the City of Bloomington. And I have a brief presentation, and then we'll have council discussion. Jim, you want to come forward? Thank you.
Thank you, Mayor. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm here to update you on the status of the Calhoun versus Bloomington case. I wanted to report that the case was resolved last week when the plaintiff accepted an offer of judgment from the city for $120,000, including attorney's fees and all costs. This is a decision that was made essentially by the city's insurance company. It was an economic decision based upon the fact that we had calculated that it would cost at least twice the amount of the settlement to simply to defend the case moving forward through trial. So the settlement, just so you all know, is not an admission of liability. We had always contended and always believed that the police officers who were sued in this case acted appropriately in subduing Ms. Calhoun in the midst of a very tense and chaotic fight that had occurred at the Denny's after spilling out from the Lucky Garden restaurant, and that they actually used fairly admirable restraint in resolving that without having to resort to any kind of weaponry, leading to any kind of significant injuries or anything of that nature. So the case is now resolved. I want to thank you for the opportunity to have been of service to you, and if you have any questions, I'm happy to address them.
Questions? Okay. Thank you very much. You might want to hang around as we begin our council discussion on this. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Again, just to clarify, there is no admission, correct, on the city of Bloomington to settle for this. We've already paid over $130,000 in legal fees so far, legal costs combined, and the estimate is that this would cost us considerably more, perhaps double the $120,000 settlement.
That's correct.
Okay. I think that's the 500-foot point in this situation. And especially for those of us, I think maybe perhaps all of us have seen the video, we certainly believe our police officers acted appropriately in this situation. I want to say that as mayor and for the record. Questions, comments?
A motion?
All right, would you love to entertain a motion? Alderwoman Schmidt.
I will make a motion that we approve this settlement as presented to us.
Okay, is there a second?
Second.
Second. Further discussion? Okay, if everyone will go ahead and vote then. There's no further discussion. The motion carries 9 ayes, no nays to announce, Madam Clerk. Thank you very much. All right. We move right along next to the action on the application for venue works of Bloomington LLC, and we know where it's located, at the Coliseum, 101 South Madison, and we have a recommendation from the Liquor Commission that a EAS license, liquor license, be given to Venue Works. Again, just to clarify, this is the same license, in effect, the stadium license that the Coliseum's previous management company, the Siam Central Illinois Arena Management, had, the same agreement, but liquor licenses go with people or businesses, not necessarily physical buildings. Questions, comments on this? We do have a representative, of course, of Venue Works in the audience. Is there a motion to approve?
I'll make that motion, Mayor.
Moved by Alderwoman Schmidt. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Alderwoman Howman. Any further discussion? Seeing none, again, an aye vote, of course, is in favor of extending a liquor license to Venue Works. That motion carries also 9-0. There are no nays to announce, Madam Clerk. Thank you. Now, moving right along, we have Bloomington Administrative Court and the presentation of the first year and overview. And Angela, I'll go ahead and turn that over to you. And just to clarify for everyone, this is a court which was established a little over a year ago within the city of Bloomington. In the past, we would have to go to our local circuit court here, and that was very cumbersome and very time-consuming. And so at this point, you want to kind of give us an update then, Angela?
Yes, we started just about a year ago, and we have Pace Court here on the second and fourth Wednesdays of the month, starting at 8:30, and then we have Behavioral Court that is in the Osborne Room over at the Police Department. And I am going to try to do this, and it's not working. We have an excellent intern that helped us put this PowerPoint together, Olivia Hefferon. And here we go.
From Illinois Wesleyan, just want to make that clear. Right.
And I want to first say we've had an outstanding staff in the legal department in Bloomington. Nikki Ware has helped run the administrative court. Jan Sheriff has helped us put together the files. Chris Maurer is a paralegal that I can't live without. And then George Boyle has helped, once I've gotten the judgments in administrative court, going forward and enforcing the judgments, along with Greg Mordock of my firm. Okay, so our first hearing date was actually April 8th, 2015. We had 237 cases filed compared to 97 cases that were in the previous year in circuit court. 88% of those cases have been heard, have resulted in compliance. What that means is we don't seek a fine, we seek compliance. We try to get abatement. 76 of those cases are still pending. 17 cases are being pursued currently in circuit court by both Greg Mordock and George Boyle. That means when I did not get abatement, I had to seek a default judgment, someone didn't show up, or we had a plea agreement, they failed to comply with the terms and conditions, they're seeking contempt actions in circuit court. Housing court is not about money. We focus on compliance. We've had $3,350 in fines collected, 113,100 in default judgments being pursued. So we are seeking those for abatement and small claims collections. The key to this, faster results, increased compliance, 144% increase in cases being handled. It's quite busy on Wednesdays. We start at 8:30. Sometimes we don't get done till 1:30. Sometimes we're done earlier, but the goal is to get the properties cleaned up. Better quality of life for the citizens and also for the neighbors around properties. Behavioral violations, those are heard in the Osborne room. Those are essentially police tickets. If you think you can, a drug paraphernalia charge can be both a criminal matter or it could be a civil ticket. These are where we do the civil tickets. Those get done a little faster, sometimes done around by 10 a.m. because we have a first appearance in the trial setting is not till the following, the third Wednesday of the month. And then we also do our tow hearings in this courtroom. Let's see. First hearing date on behaviorals was April 1st, 2015. 957 cases have been filed. 32% of the cases have been closed and all fines paid. That's a little bit over $56,000 in fines paid. 51% of the cases resulted in default judgments. We don't get a lot of people that show up in that courtroom. However, we seek enforcement in circuit court. Collection efforts have been started to seek $144,000 plus in fines. The remaining cases in this court are either still pending or have been dismissed. First year payments have been almost close to $152,000. Previous year payments were $235,000. That's approximate 35% decrease. We probably have about 400 cases that we're going to go in small claims court over the next couple months. Solely because we had a little bit of staffing shortage for a while, so we wanted to proceed with abatement of the property cases and pursue the collection later on. Rationale is approximately 660 fewer behavioral citations were issued. That's a 30% decrease. There haven't been the higher back details. So once again, we chose to focus on the housing code violations rather than the behavioral at this time. We are moving forward with both the collection efforts on both the housing and behaviorals. We're implementing new collection and judgment enforcement efforts in circuit court. So we're not doing MRs. We're going to be proceeding with LMs and contempt. Next steps, I have some, next couple weeks, you'll probably be getting pending administrative court adjudication ordinance. I'm going to go back and ask to add court costs in once the case gets to court. If it's not abated, I want to have a $100 fee added into the ordinance. Improving the system to enforce judgments, have it laid out about the notice procedures and what's happening so it's clear for the citizens how this works, and evaluating some more collection efforts. Okay. Not only do we have the legal team that has been great, if you could give me a moment, I've had some outstanding police and PACE inspectors that I deal with on a constant basis, call me all times, all hours of the night, and we work together. First, from the police department, Officer Finelli has been outstanding. He's been great. He tries to resolve a lot of issues with individuals before a citation is given out. Laudenberg's been great for inoperable vehicles. Officer Hall, Officer Peterson, Administrative AC Bays has been great to make sure tickets, when people raise a due process issue, he looks into them to make sure that that concern's addressed. Officer Amy Kyle is great for security because we have had some issues over there, and she'll stand up when needed and protect me, so it's great, although I always think I can outrun people if necessary. And Lieutenant Paul Williams and Lieutenant Tim McCoy have been outstanding to issue tickets and to make sure that officers are showing up for when there's a trial. PACE, Tom Devenreyer, has been awesome to sit down on the high-profile cases, come in and talk to individuals, try to get compliance. Supervisor Bob Combs, Carrie Snedden. We've had lots of times where we've had tickets issued and they've sat down and we've negotiated some type of compliance effort or an agreement to move forward where there are certain steps that have to be met each week. Sometimes I'm pulling people in both behavioral court and in PACE court because we've had rubbish issues. And we said, okay, you can't wait 2 weeks. You're going to come see me every Wednesday till you get this property cleaned up. Inspectors Don Langloy, Candace Beer, Donna Guerin, Steve Adcock, Catherine Gruber, Chris Hazel, and Denny Carrick. I couldn't live without these guys. They've been really looking around your town, looking for issues, taking the complaints, and calling me saying, is this something I should notice up, or is this something we should proceed directly to court? We've had this individual in court several times. How can we come together to work for compliance? Do you guys have any questions? Am I beyond my minute, or am I in the...
I don't
Okay.
see that, but thank you, Angela, for your work in this and leadership on this, because obviously this was, as we all know, a very, very serious long-term issue and problem of code enforcement within the city of Bloomington, and we really are making so much progress for the future. So I appreciate all your hard work.
Yeah, I appreciate
Comments,
that.
questions? Yes,
Sure.
Alderman Fruin, and then Black, and we'll go around.
One quick question. Thank you very much. Sounds like it's been a very successful start. I've had a chance to sit in on 3 or 4 of the property and housing
Right.
violation hearings. I don't have the answer to this. Maybe you do. How would we grade ourselves? How would the people that appear before the administrative panel, how would they grade us as to how it's gone the first year, the user?
I would say a lot of the only complaint I get is generally how, especially on those days when it's 1:30, this is taking too long, and generally we say, listen, if you had your property cleaned up, you wouldn't be here in the first place. If you had worked with the inspector, you wouldn't be here. So, but I do try to take their concerns. If they're set for trial, what Hearing Officer Martin and I have done, we just set it for a certain time. So what we've done is, okay, instead of waiting at 8:30 until your trial time, we'll just see you at 11 o'clock, be there for trial. Either have it abated or be there for trial. But that's the only complaint I've gotten.
Okay. Alderman Black.
Thank you, and thank you so much. I would just say that this is wildly popular in Ward 7. The compliance issues have been addressed in a much more timely manner. Residents are incredibly pleased at the progress in this direction. I guess the only feedback that I get is that sometimes people wish it would be a lot faster, but you have to give people due process and give them the opportunity to address their concerns over time. So I look at this as a resounding success for the city, and thanks to you and your leadership.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, that damn due process sometimes. Alderman Schmidt.
Yes, and I agree. It has been very successful. There are always the handful of cases that you've referenced where it has to go on to court. When does that happen? I think when I hear frustration, it's sometimes how come this landlord or property owner, whatever, has come back again and again and again and again, and when is enough enough? So how do you make that determination?
Really, I work with the inspectors to see, has he been in compliance, or has she been in compliance for a certain period, or should I be taking a fine, or should I be having them sign a plea agreement? So if the inspector thinks it's too much, that's when I move forward. I have one landlord that I think you and I have had emails about probably every day, and he is one in particular that if I don't have him come to PACE court, and he actually comes to behavioral court every Wednesday, and he has to show up, and if he does not, the only way he gets a waiver is if I get on a Tuesday from Donna Guerin stating that there's no rubbish or garbage in the yard, then he does not have to appear in court.
So I would imagine that you probably see a small number of sort of what you might call repeat offenders, and that they probably own more than one property. Is that right?
That's correct, yep. And unfortunately,
Great if we could figure out a way then to address, what, it's like the 80-20 rule, where the small number are causing the biggest problems and the biggest workload for everybody. And I don't know what the answer to that is, but...
some of those, the same landlord, he has additional properties where he's just not coming in compliance, and we're taking him to circuit court to enforce our orders.
Yeah.
The other thing I've started is called a chronic nuisance status for rubbish and garbage. So you may be in compliance this week, but you have to, until you stop seeing me, you have to be in compliance for a month. And then I say, if you're in compliance for a month, then you'll see me in 3 months. If you're in compliance for 3 months, then you'll see me for 6 months. And after 6 months, you won't see me till a year. And that's when I, as a prosecutor, will move to dismiss the case.
Yeah.
Now, anytime the hearing officer could move to dismiss it, but he started to recognize the frequent chronic offenders. So, and it's typically with that situation, it's rubbish and garbage.
Well, thank you for keeping after it. We appreciate it.
Welcome.
Alderwoman Burgess.
And just to dovetail up on that, I was really happy to hear that you're using some of the lessons you've learned, and you'll be bringing us some proposed changes to make this even more efficient and perhaps make sure that it is fiscally responsible in terms of cost. Now I've forgotten my question. Oh, there we go. Okay, so first of all, I hope that you will continue to bring us anything that we can do to help you, especially when it comes to these chronic issues of properties. But I was wondering if you could give us an idea, have you been able to determine if there are any patterns in terms of what are the violations we're seeing most frequently in our community, or is it just all over the place?
It's a little bit of both. I will tell you that there's a lot of rubbish and garbage. Probably Inspector Adcock and Donna Guerin send me the most, and those are in apartment structures. But for some of the residents, looks like, we could have failing roofs, failing foundation, things of that nature. So on the single-family homes, the code violations could be broad-ranging. On the more commercial structures, it seemed to be rubbish and garbage. So, and that's why I started that chronic offender, because I know if you don't make your tenants clean up, somebody's got to be liable, and you're the property owner, you got to make sure they're cleaning up.
Actually, I was at the Islamic Center opening on Saturday and went over to this site, I won't mention the exact address, on Gill Street, that when the police took me around about 2.5 years ago, there had been 7 years worth of letters. You're a bad boy, you're a bad boy, you're really, really, really bad boy. And it was mostly cleaned up. At least the really serious, dangerous stuff wasn't out there, like a rusting tractor or whatever. And it was just a few hundred feet from an apartment complex. Like when I was 8, that would have been, man, I'd have been on that, like, white on rice. So, they're definitely attractive nuisance. So definitely we're starting to see that. And certainly the word on the street is Bloomington's getting its act together. Oh my gosh.
Oh,
Right.
that's good to hear.
Thank you.
I will tell you, the police have been working. Lunenburg's been great. If he hears about inoperable vehicles, he works alongside the PACE inspectors. He'll cite them for inoperable vehicles in behavioral court while I'm taking them for the housing code violations here in also PACE court. So that's been great.
Double-barreled. And
Yeah.
I don't know.
Well-
Leg irons, cattle prods, would that help?
No comment.
Anybody else? Okay. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Appreciate very much all you're doing and the update.
Thank you.
Look forward to talking to you soon. Thanks, Angela. Okay. At this point, before we go into closed session, there's not really, I'm just taking leave of a very quick, like 20-second update. We know we've had some stories about discussions at 1,000 feet of sales tax sharing, and the Be an Advantage voted to support that, and the Economic Development Council voted to support that, and as I understand, the Chamber is meeting later this week to support that. Other than a general discussion at 500 feet, again, there is no proposal other than in concept as discussion. So as one emerges, we'll begin to chat, and Alderman Fruin and Burgess were the ones who were involved over 2 months ago, just happened to be we're at the One Voice and began a discussion. So that's how it developed, and some local opinion leaders have really moved with this. So more to follow, just FYI. Okay. At this point, is there a motion to go into closed session for the personnel reading matters that are mentioned on our I was going to say syllabus, on our schedule, item 7A?
So moved.
Moved by Alderwoman Howman. Is there a second? Second by Alderman Milwambwe, and we're going to need to, should do roll call rather than electronic vote?
Roll call.
Roll call, okay, thank you.
Alderman Lauer.
Yes.
Alderman Sage.
Yes.
Alderman Malumboy.
Yes.
Alderman Burgess.
Yes.
Alderman Painter.
Yes.
Alderman Schmidt. Yes. Alderman Black.
Yes.
Alderman Hallman.
Yes.
Alderman Fruin.
Yes. All right. We're going to go in the back and then close the doors in a few minutes here. Thank you.
And Mayor, you might just want to mention there is no action anticipated after the closed meeting.
Right,
So-
correct. This is, all the public action is taken. Thank you, City Manager.